Hi, my name is Ben Greger, and I'm Executive Chef of Mudshark Restaurant Concepts. It's getting cold in Lake Havasu, so today I'm going to make a classic clam chowder for you. Okay, so let's go over the ingredients, or in French cuisine we call that mise en place. That's one of the things I can recommend to you to make your cooking better, is to have everything in order. Here I have 8 ounces of salt pork. Here I have 8 ounces of small diced celery. This is a pound of small diced yellow onion, and this is a pound and a half of small diced potatoes. Here I've got about 12 ounces of cherry stone clams. I've got a quart and a half of chicken stock. Fish fumet or fish stock would be better, but chicken stock is what I'm using today. Here I have all my reserved clam juice. That's about 16 ounces of clam juice. This is 8 ounces of heavy cream. This is 1 quart of whole milk. Back here for spices and aromatics, I have fresh thyme, bay leaf. I'm adding a little bit of garlic to my recipe. I'm going to use white pepper because this is a white cream sauce sort of based soup, and this is Old Bay seasoning. To correct flavors at the end, Worcestershire sauce and Tabasco sauce are very classic. This can correct my savory, and this can bump up the spice a little bit and let you perceive more of the flavors in the dish. This is going to be the trick up my sleeve right here, is I got a little bit of fish sauce, so if I feel like the clam flavor is not coming through well enough, I'm going to bump it up with a little bit of fish sauce. For fun garnishes here, I thought it'd be nice to put a little bit of roasted potato in so I get a different texture with my potatoes. If I want, I could use these croutons that I made this morning, or I could use a larger crouton in the bowl. I have some flat leaf parsley that I've chiffonaded, and then this is also some scallion. I'm just using the greens. I saved the white, I just threw them in with my yellow onion. And just in case I feel like it needs a little bit of bump of color, I know it's not traditional, but a little bit of small diced tomato would be nice in the dish, give it a nice pop of color. Oh, in case I forget, or I already did forget, this is 4 ounces of flour, so this is going to help to make my roux. All right, let's get started. I can't screw it up. One of the ways that I keep myself organized when I'm going to do something, say on TV or for a class, and I can't redo it, I keep everything in order on my mise en place, in the order that it goes into the dish, if that makes sense to you. So this is the salt pork right here. This is diced up. Why did I use this instead of bacon? You'll be hard-pressed to find an American bacon that is not smoked. And that smoke flavor can tend to mask over some of the seafood flavors that we have in this dish. We'd rather have this dish taste like clams and not like smoked bacon. But the pork is nice, and especially the pork fat. And it's that fat that's going to help me make the roux. So I'm just going to put a little bit of oil in my pot. I'm working on an induction burner here. This is enameled cast iron. And I can put my salt pork in there and start to render it. Okay, we're about halfway to 3/4 of the way there with rendering. You do want to keep an eye on this, especially if you're doing it on an electric or gas burner. I'd be watching for any brown bits that are building up in the bottom of the pot. I don't want it to get too hot too fast. I'll burn the salt pork before I'm able to render all the fat out of it. So, okay, I reserved a little bit of my salt pork for garnish at the end with the top of the soup. I'm going to take the rest of what I have in there, use that oil to sweat my onions and my celery. Okay, so you don't want to really develop any color in the vegetables. When you're sweating them, you're just trying to pull their juices out into solution so that you can perceive the flavor, but you really don't want any browning. There's going to be some from the pork. You can't avoid that. But now I'm going to take my 4 ounces of flour and just rain it right over the top. Start to incorporate it to make my roux. I've been cooking this roux for about 3 minutes. 3 to 5 minutes is going to give me a blonde roux. And a pound of blonde roux will thicken a gallon of liquid to nappe consistency. So at this point, I can start adding my liquid, and I'm going to be mindful that this is my chance to work out any lumps before they form. You might have noticed I didn't just dump all my liquid in at once. I still have about 3/4 of it left. But as this starts to get kind of thick and almost gooey, this is my chance to work out any big lumps of flour that are in the dish before I add more liquid. One thing I can recommend to you is that when you're doing a recipe for the first time or a dish for the first time, cross-reference it against a couple different versions of it and try to find the commonalities. Choose those commonalities as your foundation and then springboard from there. I'm just going to add the potatoes now. I'm going to wait to add to the clams until close to the very end because they're already cooked and I don't want them to taste like rubber bands. So I add my... Okay, my potatoes are starting to get soft and I don't want them to break down completely, so I'm going to get my cream and my milk, which I've brought to a scald, and I'm going to add that to the soup. I brought them up to a scald just because I didn't want to add them cold to the dish. Okay, so I've got it just about where I want it. I'm just going to correct flavors now, and then I'll add the clams. I want those to go in just and warm through. I don't want them to turn into rubber bands. So I'm going to just hit it with, I tasted it a second ago. I'm just going to hit it with a little bit of Tabasco sauce. That's going to bump up the acidity. It's also going to bump up the heat. I'm going to hit it with a little bit of Worcestershire. That's going to bump up the savory. And then my last little trick, I'm going to hit it with a little bit of fish sauce, which you don't want to eat a lot of this stuff. A little bit goes a long way. Okay, I've got those flavors in there. Now all that's left for me to do is to add these clams and heat them through, and then we'll dish it up. Hey, that was fun. If you're going to be in Lake Havasu on January 19th, I want you to come out to the People's Table at Public House. It's going to be a champagne brunch. You can get your tickets on mudsharktickets.com.